there, friends, Nibs again. Out in the garage doing a little bit of tinkering around tonight. And I wanted to do a quick video for you guys. Well, hopefully quick. Probably not. But we're going to be putting together, I know it seems like I've been procrastinating on this one, but I've just been really busy with a whole bunch of other guns coming in and other people's projects that they wanted me to look at for them. And so this one's been kind of put on the back burner until now. But what we're going to do is try to get this Benjamin, with this is the C9, CB9, it says C9A series, but it would be a CB20, C9, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you would call it, but so it's a CB9, which would be a 20 caliber. Okay, yeah, so CB because it's blued. If it was a C9, it would be nickel plated. That would be like a silver streak. But this is the C9. The very first C9s, actually, a little bit of history. The very first C9s that came out still had the soldered valve in them, but that ended in 1995. And then in 95 to 97, they had ones that look like the older style with the stamped metal trigger guard. And then in 1997, they came out with this style with the cast aluminum. And I thought this looked a lot like the... So I've got a 397 PA, and that has a trigger guard that looks a lot like the older Crossman's, but that one's a completely different unit. But anyway, let's move on so we're not taking so long with this. But we have the receiver tube. I'm going to set the stock pieces aside, just so I don't scratch them up while we're working on this thing. But this is a absolutely beautiful gun, and by the date code on it, it looks like it is a first year of this. Oh, maybe not. Probably 98. So that would have been a second year production. But so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring you down to the tabletop, and we're gonna get this thing put back together. I did already tear it all apart. Set the receiver tube off to the side for now. Got a couple of bottles of oil here to use. Do have my seal kit from Henry Ford. Don't need that around right now. So the first thing we're going to do is put our valve back together. Got to get the valve back inside the gun. So we don't need this, the old poppet. We don't need that. It's the old, there's a new inlet valve there, so we don't need that. So I don't think we need anything out of the parts thing there. So let me see. This one's the hammer spring, so this one must be the valve spring. Alrighty, so let's grab another empty tin here. I always like to have an empty tin to put my parts in, that way they don't go scattering around. More oil. So there's our pump cup, we'll need that. So there's our new inlet valve and our new poppet. That's the exhaust valve. And then we'll have a couple of O-rings here so that'll go around the back. So we'll have 3 O-rings for the valve. I've already spent the time and cleaned all this stuff up. Used a brake cleaner to clean all the gunk out of it. It looked perfect on the outside, but inside it looked like somebody had oiled this thing up with used motor oil, and really bad used motor oil. So, but it's all cleaned up now, and all of the hard pieces are in good shape, so I don't think it's going to be a problem getting this thing sealed up and working really nice. But these These O-rings are definitely seen better days. So there's big O-ring there for the front of the valve, and then we've got a center O-ring that seals the two halves of the valve together, and that would be that one there. And then in the back we've got a skinny one that seals off the back half of the valve. So now I'm going to start out by putting the center one in. We'll screw that together. Once I've got it screwed together, then I'll put the two outside O-rings back on. But I always like to put a little bit of the oil on there just to make everything slide. Either use the oil, or you can use, sometimes use some silicone grease that I have. Take your time with it. Don't try to let it roll down the threads. Don't let it slide down, because that could scar that O-ring up, and you don't want that. Alright, so now this little white Teflon, it's the same as the old piece, goes in, and then your spring, and then your new poppet. Drop of oil on there, helps seal it up for the first couple of pumps. Alright, I'm going to have you off camera for a second. This is why I didn't put the new seals in yet, because I'm going to clamp this in my vise here right next to the camera. And I do have, so I have copper jaws in my camera, or my vise, so it won't mar this up. And then I have these Nipex smooth jawed pliers, and they're excellent for doing this kind of work. It'll help if I go the right way, but you don't need to really torque down on this, but you want it to be just hand snug, I guess. You just want the two pieces kind of to mate up together. And there you go, you see no mars or scars on the valve. Alrighty, so now we want to put our two outer O-rings on. There's the front larger one. Still got plenty of oil on my fingers here from working on that. So there is our valve assembly back together. It should be ready to go. So now there's two sides to this valve. There's one side with threads in it, another side without threads in it. And we want the threads to be on the bottom. So I'm going to come in from the back, I think. That way I don't have to go so far with it. It should work. He's fighting me and I don't like the feeling of that. Let me, I'm going to pause the camera. I need to get some parts to drive that back out again. Alrighty, so I'm back. I got that out, and I'm going to go ahead and run it in from the front because that's the way it came out. All of the other Crossman guns I've worked on always came out through the front too, but it looked like it was the same diameter, but it might not be because it was wanting to go in real hard for me, so I didn't want to force it and damage something. But let me go ahead and again get some assembly lube on here. I've got a couple of long 3/8 inch extensions that we'll use to so you always got to be careful when you're getting these started. There's little spots where your O-rings can hang up and possibly get damaged, and we don't want that. Okay, so we're moving along. Help if I was actually even touching the valve with the thing. I was on the end of the tube there. So now I can move it down as far as I can go. Let me get back on it with an extension. So using the end of the extension that would normally go on the ratchet. So that's kind of cupping around the end of the valve there. Ways to go. Good thing I got a nice long extension here. I got to come all the way down here, and there's a threaded insert that goes in there. I went a little too far. It's okay. Just turn it around and knock it back the other way. Get the shorter one here. Okay. So now I didn't do quite a perfect job of getting myself lined up here, but we can just hopefully take our pick here or our screwdriver and get that turned. There it goes. Okay. We are almost there, folks. I told you it wouldn't be too short. This is my I don't do these every day, and so this is actually the first one of this particular model that I've ever done. So doesn't quite want to go that last little bit for me. Maybe, let me see if I've got a punch that's pretty close to that size. That helped. That might be pretty close. So what I want to be able to do is thread this little fitting down into there. And that's what actually holds the the gun into the stock as well. But if you can't thread that in by hand, you don't want to force it. I got it started. Let me just see here. I'm not going to force it, but just see if it'll start going. Yeah, it's going in. She's going in nice. All right, let me okay. Just double check with the stock just to make sure I got the right spot there. It looks like it. Okay. Alrighty. So, oops, sorry. So we're done with that for now. So we'll set that off to the side. And the next part is going to be to replace this pump cup. This pump cup is pretty hard. It's not the hardest one I've ever seen. I've done a couple of these where they actually like fractured when you were trying to get them out of there. This one doesn't feel like it's going to do that, but and I apologize. I try to keep you guys in frame as much as possible and keep my hands out of the way as much as possible, but this takes a lot of effort here, so it's just pressed into this little metal cup here. You just got to work your way around and kind of pry it out of that cup. When it's real hard and like that, it's tough to get it to go. So now I should be able to grab onto it with a pair of pliers here. There we go. And that's all full of rust and junk. I'm going to pause it real quick and clean that out with a brass brush for a couple minutes, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm back. That's looking a lot better. Got our new pump cup here. Go ahead and get this installed into the rod, and then we should be pretty home free. Just kind of got to reassemble everything at that point. There we go. Went in there pretty nice. So now we just gotta get everything back into the gun. So you gotta get this piece in here first, and then the assembly rod, the assembly pin will go through there once I get the forearm. Stand by. So can you guys see my arm's in the way again? So we got a couple of roll pins and a thick pin, solid pin here. So the solid pin goes in through the pump cup, and I should be able to slide that on down. And we're getting pressure. That's good. That's a good sign. All right. So now we want the end cap, and there's 2 holes in this end cap. A lot of the Crossmans only have 1, but apparently all the pressure these things make, they needed that extra support. So this is going to go in there with a roll pin, and that will push that whole thing down. And I'm not going to keep you guys on while I'm hammering those pins in because it's obnoxious. So stand by while I get these in here, and I'll be right back with you. Alrighty there, friends, we are on the home stretch, and we should be pretty darn close to having this wrapped up. Feels like it's making some pretty good pressure, so I think we should be good to go there. Let me see, I just got a couple of more screws here. That one goes in the bottom. These two are okay for this side. Okay, so let's get first we got to get the bolt back in. But before we do that, we've got a couple of O-rings here for sealing up the breech. I think the smaller one's the one I want. So that bigger one would have been for the 22 caliber version. It's nice having something nice and pointy to get these pieces out, but you gotta be really careful you don't poke your fingers. Split it. And it is that smaller one. Okay. So just got a little tiny O-ring to go around the end of the bolt here. And that will seal the breech, hopefully. So now we want to put the bolt back in. And there is this one screw here that is an Allen wrench that's got to go down in, and that's what actually actuates pulls back the hammer when you cock the bolt. Let's see what size that is. I can't remember. 3/32 probably. Nope. Is it metric? Can't be metric. 7/64. Yep. Alrighty, so this could be a little wonky, but you just got to line it up with the hole in the bolt. You can do this from the side. No, maybe not. So there is a little side cover on the receiver. I think you could pull that off and do this as well, but it's just as easy from This is easy from the back. Oh, you know what? Loosen this screw back up just a little bit to get the trigger mechanism in place. Now we've got two little Phillips head screws that go in the side of the receiver on each side. Side, and we should be able to just do a test. It already has one pump in there because I pumped it while I was putting the pump arm back on, but so we should be able to I don't know why. I must have done something wrong. It won't cock. Alrighty. I'm going to pause this while I'm troubleshooting this problem, and I'll let you know what I find when I figure it out, because this is going to be way too long anyway, but so stand by. Alrighty, so I got it working. I'm not exactly sure what was wrong. All I did was loosen this up, take those two screws out, take it off, and then put it back on again, and now it cocks and fires just fine. So let me, just two pumps, cock it, got pressure. So now, last thing we got to do is throw it in the stock, and then we can test it. Alrighty, let me bring you up here, bring you out here. I don't have a downrange camera going, but we'll do a full review on it down the road. But let me grab some 20 caliber pellets here. Let you guys see it all put back together. A real beautiful gun. I don't know if I've ever seen one with a silver end cap. Is that normal? I wonder if somebody took one off of a Silver Streak to put on there. But let's go ahead and see what we can do. So there's 4 pumps. Lots of power. All right, stand by. I'm going to do one last thing, and then we're going to wrap this video up because it's already way too long. But I wanted to show you guys this assembly. But I'm going to set my chronograph up real quick and just do one shot with 8 pumps and see what we're getting. It'll probably take a little bit of break-in before it'll get completely up to full power, but it might be on full power already, so stand by. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do, so these are 11.42 grain, so these are the lighter of the 2 types of 20 caliber pellets I have currently. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. I can tell you, these are a manly gun. You don't want to be faint of heart to pump these up. So So that is 8 pumps. (621 feet per second). So according to the specs, 8 pumps, and that's probably with a lighter pellet than these, should be 675. So I'm pretty darn close, I think. So that's pretty decent. So there you go. There is my CB9 rebuild. We'll be doing a lot more playing with this out in the garage for sure. Let me go ahead. I'm just going to do one with like 4 pumps because it really seemed like it was pretty much maxed out at 4, I think. But so 507 with just 4 pumps. So that's pretty smoking. So we'll have to do a head-to-head with this one with the 397 PA, which is a 177 caliber, but it's all very much, it's a Benjamin, very much like this one though. But anyway, there you go. Hope you stuck around to the end. I know it went kind of long with the rebuild. My rebuilds tend to go that way, but run into little problems and stuff because I don't do these every day. But working great now. So hope you liked the video. Till next time, have a great day.